Welcome to the Daily Review. This is Fed Razak, Senior Trading Strategist here at CMTrading. And today is March 22nd, 2024, and today is Friday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, we're watching the Dow Jones continue to make new record highs. But first, looking at today's major economic events. So we have all day today a Euro summit, which should affect the Euro. And then at 3 p.m. South African time, a follow-up to the last interest rate decision from the United States. Fed Chairman Powell will be speaking. Now looking at the various markets, starting out with the Forex symbols, US dollar rebounds versus the major pairs. That's big news. And as we look at the indices, the Dow Jones, as mentioned, makes new highs. And the NASDAQ does continue to advance. Now looking at commodities, gold and oil trickle lower. While we're looking at the stocks, bank stocks continue to rally higher. And most of the tech stocks besides Apple, which tanks on the news. Now lastly, looking at cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin trickles lower. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can affect from today's trading. So here we go. First with the Euro USD. Now, we had a spike on Wednesday after the Fed Chairman Powell kept interest rate at bay. Markets reacted very positively to it with the anticipation that in June he's going to start decreasing interest rates because inflation is in check. That was the opportunity. There's a fade opportunity, the opposite direction after something like that happens. It's a knee-jerk reaction, and sure enough, we got it. We went to 109.30-ish level. We're right now trading at 108.20-ish level. That's 110 pips for a two-day move. Not bad for the Euro USD, especially since it's been in a very tight range. Okay, all together, it hasn't been trading tremendously over the past year, I would say 5 years. Okay, but altogether, with it, it's at the bottom of the range. Now today we have a Euro summit coming out of the European Union. That might affect it, and we might see some choppiness. Now, the dollar rebounded versus almost everything. Okay, if we look at the GBP USD it also corrected itself right back down on that 126-ish level. And that's a bigger move, right? The British pound trades more volatility, and that's sure enough what we got. I mean, if we look at the Australian dollar that also continued making that correctional move. Now, looking at the Japanese yen, we're almost at our lows. We just touched our lows and then came right down, a 151.85. Now, considering that we've kind of made it back, okay, if this does continue and does break 151.80-ish level, with some gusto, we'll see it making new record lows. So keep this on the radar because it could still make some new lows. Now, jumping into commodities, gold trickling lower at 221.67 and crude oil also trickling lower. No big deal there. Now jumping into the U.S. markets, this is where it becomes very, very interesting. Okay, let's take a look at the Dow Jones clearing 40,184. That's another 100 and something points in just the last day. All-time record highs for the Dow Jones. The bank stocks are very strong. We're going to take a look at it as well. Now looking at the NASDAQ, also advanced, okay, to record highs, or back on its record highs rather, okay? Not big deal, okay, but it's advancing, okay? So we're going to split it right now because Apple did sell off. So we're going to start out with Apple because it was the one that was the anomaly yesterday from 177 down to 171. Now they have some issues with the government in the US, okay? And that's really what's stalling Apple from going higher at these levels, okay? Not sure how much they're going to be penalized for and, how that's going to work out. So, anytime that we're in this type of environment where there's a company that's under scrutiny for antitrust laws or anything like that, it's going to falter in it. Not that the company is doing poorly, but because of its lack of certainty. Now, looking at Microsoft, though, we hit back to our all-time record highs, 429. Okay, so that pushed higher as well. If you look at Facebook, also on our highs, not making new highs, but on our highs as well, just shy of 522. Okay, so it did get stronger yesterday. Now, jumping into the bank stocks, this is where it really makes. Now, I mentioned this earlier this week, 196 on the JP Morgan, traded earlier this week, okay, and we're at 199. We're just hitting that 200 level, and once we clear that $200 level, that means that we could go to 210. So keep that in mind. JP Morgan, obviously one of the biggest bank stocks in the world, and that's a major thing. Now jumping into, let's see, Bank of America, another one that rallied higher, okay, continue to rally higher in this environment. It's really, as you are trading the markets, you have to be sector specific. And especially when there's a market that's giving it to you in terms of interest rate decisions or inflationary decisions, the bank stocks are the first ones to go, and they're the ones that are the strongest. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now, lastly, looking at Bitcoin, we did trickle lower, and this was the 50% mark that I was mentioning about 69,000. We hit it and trickled lower. No big deal. Okay, it doesn't mean that we're going back to 15,000. It just means that for right now, okay, we're tapering off. Okay, at least from our massive move upwards, at least for now, we're taking a breather. Okay, now it doesn't mean that today we can't see this all of a sudden just activate itself. It just means that after it had this massive run up, it makes a correctional move. It then kind of tapers off, and then we'll see what's going to happen next. It's an action play. Okay, Bitcoin is not, kind of looking at technicals. It's more of a, movement. It's more of the word that I'm looking for is action play. Okay, that's really what it is. So if you're a scalper, intraday trader, great. You want to be trading it. If you're a swing trader, I would keep my hands off of it just because it's not going to give it to you on a daily basis of, building a certain move in one direction or another. Okay, at least for now. Okay, it doesn't mean that it's not going to change in the future, but at least for now. So keep that in mind. This is Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.